In this video, we're going to go over the differences between machine learning and deep learning. So in the previous videos, we've gone over the understanding of what exactly machine learning is, right? We understand that machine learning is the ability for us to program computers based on certain algorithms, right? And we gave the example of the Facebook algorithm, how it's able to understand what you're liking, what you're, seeing as far as the videos, your engagement on the platform, and then it's reinforcing what you already like and showing you the same exact type of content based on what the machine learning algorithm is learning based off your actions, right? And so now we're going to go into deep learning and understand how this is different from machine learning and the differences between the two and what exactly is the deep learning aspect here and what exactly ultimately is deep learning as far as the definition. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Okay, so machine learning versus deep learning. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence associated with creating algorithms that can change themselves without human intervention to get the desired result by feeding themselves through structured data. So that's just kind of the high level understanding and introduction to the machine learning, right? We've gone through the various definitions in the previous video. This is more of a high level, right? So that you can understand what machine learning is versus deep learning at a very high level, right? So deep learning is a subset of machine learning where algorithms are created and function similar to machine learning, but there are many levels of these algorithms and each providing a different interpretation of the data it conveys. The network of algorithms is called artificial neural network. And we're going to be working with neural networks in this course. And we're going to have a project as well that's going to be working with the neural networks, which is going to be exciting for you to be able to get started with. So in simple words, it resembles a neural connection that exists in the human brain, right? So just think about how the neural connection functions inside of our brain. And essentially what's going on here is we're creating different neural networks, right, that are going to work and are acting such as our particular neural network, right, neural connections that we have in our brain to, solve various problems, to, have certain inputs, right, certain outputs. And we're going to go into deep learning, exactly what that is here in this particular lesson. But it's really just more giving you an understanding that deep learning is essentially a lot more complex. We have the neural networks involved, right? And so let's say that you have a collection of photos of dogs and cats, right? And you need to identify the images of the dogs and the cats separately using machine learning algorithms and deep learning neural network. And so an example that we went through in the previous lesson with understanding what machine learning is, right? We understand that we can use machine learning to be able to designate the different dogs, the different cats, right? And be able to identify those images with the certain set of data structure, right? Now, with deep learning, we're using, machine learning algorithms and deep learning neural networks because oftentimes we only have very limited, information. So let's dive into this a little bit deeper here. So machine learning solution, right? To help the machine learning algorithm classify images into collections according to two categories, right? The dog and the cat. It needs to present these images first. So we talked about the fact that, we're looking for particular images of dogs and cats. So we're looking for the algorithm to identify which one of those is an actual dog and which one of those is an actual cat, right? And so we're able to program the machine learning algorithm based off of those images and showing those images, millions of times to the, particular algorithm so it can understand and learn, right, which one is a dog and which one is a cat based off the information that it's learned, right? And so essentially, the algorithm knows which one is which using structured data, right? You simply mark the images of the dogs and the cats in order to determine the characteristics of both animals, right? That's the machine learning aspect. And then this data will be sufficient for training the machine learning algorithm, and then it will be able to continue to work on the basis that they understand, right? It understands the markings in the other images of the other animals based on the understanding of the data, right, that has been submitted. And so machine learning versus deep learning. Let's look at the deep learning solution here. So the main advantage of deep learning is that it doesn't necessarily need structured, right, data or any kind of imagery that is, structured or classified, right? It doesn't need those particular images. In this case, the input data, right, the image data is sent through different levels of neural networks, and each network hierarchically determines the specific features of the images. Okay, so there's a very big difference here. With the machine learning, we're programming the actual machine, right, through various algorithms. With the deep learning, the network hierarchically determines the specific features of the images, right, based on the different interactions, based on the different levels of the neural networks, right? So you have a certain set of input data, right, that goes through the different levels of the neural networks, and then it's essentially ran through all of these networks, and then it's able to determine the specific features on the images, right? And so remember, this is all working just like a neuron in our brain, right? The neurology, the different neurons in our brain, right? This is working just like that. It's mimicking that because obviously the human brain is extremely powerful, and our ability to compute and to, take action and, to automatically just do things without even thinking, right, is just extremely powerful. So that's really what the deep learning algorithm is really about, is understanding how the neural networks function based on the human brain, right? The neural networks are the ones that are really doing all of the work here, okay? And so like I mentioned, this is similar to how our brain works, right, to solve various problems, running queries through different hierarchies of concepts and related questions to find the answers. After processing the data through the different levels of the neural networks, right, just like our brain, the system finds appropriate identifiers to classify both animals by their images, right? So in this example, you can see that the machine learning algorithm requires labeled and structured data to understand the differences between the images of the cats and the dogs, right? And then study the classification and then draw a conclusion. The deep learning network was able to classify the images of both the animals from the data processed in the layers, right? In the layers of the network. So that's the biggest difference there, right? The machine learning algorithm requires the data, right, to be labeled and structured, to be able to understand the differences between the cat and the dog. While the deep learning, process here is essentially understood, right, and is able to classify the images based on the data that is processed in the layers of the network. So extremely powerful there. Okay, so now let's take a look at the main differences between deep learning and machine learning, okay? So the main differences between deep learning and machine learning is the way the data is presented in the system. The machine learning algorithms almost always required structured data, while deep learning networks rely on layers of the artificial neural network. So we got layers with deep learning, and then we have structured data with the machine learning, right? So think about that and understand that machine learning, we got structured data, and then we have the deep learning, and we have those that are the layers of the artificial neural networks. That's going to be the biggest difference there, right? Because the artificial neural networks are acting just like our brain, our neural network we have in our brain, and so it's extremely powerful, and it's able to compute, right, through all these different layers, and have an actual output of what the item is, whether a dog or a cat, right? And so machine learning algorithms are designed to learn to act by understanding labeled data, and then it uses it to produce new results within more data sets. So here's the thing. So then with deep learning networks, they do not require human intervention, as multi-level layers in neural networks place data in a hierarchy of different concepts, right? Which ultimately learn from their mistakes. So this is powerful here. Machine learning algorithms are designed to learn, right, by understanding the data and then being able to, produce a certain type of data set result. However, when it's incorrect, then the individual needs to go back and reprogram the machine based on the information that's collected and understood and gathered, right? The difference here, deep learning, is essentially allowing the network, the neural network, right, to be able to place it into a different hierarchy of different concepts, which ultimately allows it to learn on its own, right? Just think about having a brain that is literally learning on its own without you having to, actually correct it and teach it and tell it what to do. It's all essentially doing it on its own, and it's extremely powerful, right? But it's a lot more complex. But we're going to be working with deep learning a lot in this course. We're going to go over a lot of different, areas, and then we're going to make sure you have a great understanding and have experience in that area as well. So data decides everything, right? It is the quality of the data that ultimately determines the quality of the result. So you can have, not so great data and run it through the deep learning, right, type of algorithms, and then have problems. And you can also do the same for the machine learning. But it's really ultimately about making sure you have quality data, right? And you're able to understand what the machines are looking for, right? As far as if you're doing a machine learning type of algorithm or if you're working with the artificial neural networks, right? So that's going to be here for the differences between machine learning and deep learning. So that's going to be here for this one, and we'll see you on the next one.